In the heat of battle, a single moment may fill an eternity.
Fuck.
In the Legion League, you'll discover timeless monoliths. When activated, they reveal a frozen battle between two armies from Baeclast's past. Break open the monsters and chests with the most valuable rewards before the time runs out.
Path of Exile Legion also contains an extensive rework of melee combat. We've made all movement skills start instantly, added animation cancelling, made all skills draw their ranges correctly, changed all melee skills to be able to hit multiple adjacent enemies, and fixed up damage timing, ranges, and shapes across all attacks. Instant speed movement and defensive skills now let you respond to incoming attacks effectively. We've also overhauled the animation system to support chaining attacks together and better attack signaling. And we've also improved targeting, attack queuing, and hit feedback. So we decided to rebalance many older monster skills, improving their signaling and giving the player the ability to dodge their attacks. You can check out Path of Exile Legion on June the 7th.
It's so much more. They downplay this shit so much. When we did the secret Baeclast, dude, Jonathan showed us everything. Again, you can check it out on Tarky's channel. The Legion League looks pretty cool now. I didn't know anything about the Legion stuff, but the melee stuff I did know. It is so much more than they just highlight here. Animation canceling, it changes the entire way you play the game. It's just a completely different game. The movement is completely different. So if Hillock extends a punch, the hitbox is always at the front of the punch. It extends. It's not like no hit. So you can literally avoid everything, dodge around everything, and it's pretty much affected the whole game.
There's a short time after activating where we can shatter the bonds of time, locking them in place.
Hog.
We'll be able to, for the first time ever, unlock a 5-slot map device. This will, of course, allow us to take on the ultimate endgame of Legion, a battle between all 5 of the Legions at once. Incubation items are a new type of currency that modify a piece of gear with a kill counter, which when reached will pop out a guaranteed item. You can have multiple items incubating at once, basically as many as you have items equipped. This system kind of came out of nowhere, but it seems to be ZiggyD experimenting with some alternative ways of getting somewhat deterministic loot. Seems to be
What the fuck? What?
This system kind of came out of nowhere, but it seems to be ZiggyD experimenting with some alternative ways of getting somewhat deterministic
That's
loot.
so
Also,
cool.
the idea of incubating little loot eggs is kind of cute. I'm personally ready to experiment with becoming a mama bird.
What the fuck?
The
That's
Legion loot that
awesome. So yeah, built-in cleave, a lot of potential, especially since it works with Ancestral Call. So I think you can do a lot of cool stuff, and hopefully it will make things like melee splash pretty much non-existent. But again, it depends on the actual animation. So it's still a pretty big unknown, but hey, anything that makes it actually feel a lot more responsive in the early game or pre-maps, because when you get to maps, you're gonna have so much attack speed and there's gonna be so much AoE that you're looking for, then I can't see anybody really properly utilizing it. But I do know that the goal that they mentioned was to make things like Heavy Strike a playable ability by itself, right? So that's the goal. Whether or not they got there, yeah. Turkey did ask if they think that this is going to be enough, and Jonathan replied with something along the lines of, if it's not enough and if it's not good, then we made a pretty shit job, so it's probably good. Yeah, skills are looking spicy. I think they're still going to announce a lot more, but I think it's very dependent on how these skills are going to work out with the Ascendancy reworks, and what sort of identity the new support skill gem specific to weapons are going to add, because that's going to be the major game-changing factor here, I think. And also the new weapon types could make a pretty big difference. When it comes to the damage, again, in the early game, it will make a big difference. I think it's going to make a big difference for racing. That's huge. I honestly wish that it would be more significant to like later parts of the game. Maybe even giving mobs more HP to really give them an opportunity to showcase all of their stuff. Because, you know, if a mob is like swinging back and then it's dead by the time it even like charges up its Kamehameha, you know, dude, that doesn't make for a good anime. So maybe a little bit more life alongside this stuff would go a long way. But I know that with the significance of the changes, they don't want the game to feel bad. And I think a lot of people will need a good minute to get used to the way new Path of Exile is really getting played. And yeah, that pretty much works into the like monster animations. I think it's massive. I think it's huge, you know, because one of the big things about Path of Exile for the longest time was boss fights. That was always great about the game, and now it won't just be great, it will be the best. And yeah, that's where monster animation, I think, will come the most into play outside of just like how good the early game's gonna feel. Player animations are still up in the air for me because it's all down to the attack speed multiplier. So for instance, Sunder has an attack speed multiplier, and it does make the ability feel different. So if they do a good job with that and actually feels rewarding to have like a slower swinging weapon, that could seriously go a long way. But I think we need a lot more information on how these sort of things scale, and for it not to just feel like, why am I using this slow attack skill when I could be using a fast attack skill? But I'm sure a lot of this will also like reflect the scalability of AoE and whatnot. When it comes to the Legion League itself, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty skeptical. Yeah, if it's nice and juicy risk versus reward, like they pulled it off with Synthesis, that would be ideal, where you feel like, okay, if I get one more mob, I will die. But I just can't see how they can find a middle ground for something like that, unless it's a genuinely, like, if you pull all the mobs, it will be way too hard for anybody. So like a medium strength build would only be able to get like 5 mobs, while like a really decked out build will be able to get 10 mobs, and then 15 mobs would be the maximum. But I don't know, that also promotes like clear speed meta and whatnot. So I'm not necessarily sure that they're gonna go for something like that. I think they're gonna go for more reward than risk, because they kind of want to reward players for, you know, playing their game after Synthesis. New jewels look crazy. We've only seen one, and modifying your skill tree is pretty much endless possibilities. I mean, obviously we don't know how far something like that's gonna go, but if you can like clump an entire build into like one section of the skill tree by just freaking picking up you know, picking up traveling nodes that have been properly modified, that could be a big one. And yeah, incubation's pretty surprising too. I don't exactly, yeah, it looks good. I like the deterministic aspect of it, especially as a primarily SSF player. And like, how does it counted with Beyond? If you get like a really fat map, dude, you can get well over like 1.5k nowadays from like a really juiced up map. So, because I don't want like more micromanagement for, you know, 1%'s sake. I have enough of that. All right. There's just so much little trash that you have to pick up, and now you have to not only pick these up, but then like micromanage them between maps. Like, oh, I'm still missing 13 mobs on this one. Oh, this one already procced. Oh, this is like, I barely put in a new one. And like, you have to pay attention to all of these things. But maybe they're not gonna be like, maybe they're gonna be a lot more impactful, but not nearly as available, you know? Like the kills required are kind of something that you're gonna be taking for granted, but then the actual availability of the incubators themselves is going to be limited. And yeah, when it comes to the 5-slot map device, again, it's a pretty big unknown. I do hope that the point of it is to make it so that essentially it's content that not easily completable by anybody, or like not completable. I really miss content in Path of Exile that is just physically undoable, the same way Atziri was initially when it came out, and then Uber Atziri specifically. Like that was completely ridiculous. And for people to aim for something like that while also playing the regular game, because when it comes to Delve, like there is content that is undoable, but one, there's always a way to cheese it, right? Every league we find a way to cheese it, or people find a way to cheese it. And two, it's so just vastly different from the rest of the game, it's not really applicable. So if they can make it so that you're playing the game and by increasing the power of your character you can deal with these things better, that would be ideal. But I don't know. I'm pretty skeptical, okay? I love everything about this league, but about 3.7 I should say, but the Legion League, I gotta see more.